Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is your favorite show, Daily Calls, a show that addresses all your stock-specific queries. In case you're watching this show for the first time, well, a WhatsApp number will be flashing on your screens. This is where you can send in all your stock-related queries. Now, in case looking at the current market scenario, if you're worried about some of the stocks that have come off quite sharply from the peak, you do not know whether it's the right time to accumulate or should you be taking an exit, booking a loss, or are there fresh opportunities emerging after the market's correction from its peak as well. Anything and everything that you want to know about stocks can be addressed to our top guests. Let's welcome our guest first on the show. We have with us a very special guest joining in. Mr. Jay Thakkar joins in on the program. He's the head of derivatives and quant research and vice president of ICICI Securities. Warm welcome to you, Jay, and thank you so much for taking the time out. Jay, I wanted to just get a sense first on the market. I mean, 2 or 3 days of gains is what we saw, and yesterday again the market slipped pretty much sharply. Overnight action on the US also troubled quite a bit. So the scenario is not really improving in terms of sentiments at all for the markets to really look at a sustained recovery. How are you approaching the sentiments and the street?
Hi, good afternoon to you, Sakshi, and thanks for having me back on your show. It's always a pleasure, to be on this show. As far as the market sentiments are concerned, definitely, you have seen the CBOE weeks, in fact, was up almost by 20% in yesterday's trading session, and wherein we saw a deep cut coming in the US markets. In fact, that's been on since last couple of trading sessions, Sakshi. If you see the US markets last week, also we have seen that the US indices were underperforming, falling, and but one thing I would say, relatively, India has not been falling since US markets have started to correct sharply. So somehow we have been opening down or lower, maybe gap down or something like that, or maybe it's been sliding slowly on the lower side, but then there has been a recovery as well. So that's been something which is quite something noticeable since last trading week. That Nifty has been, relatively outperforming the overall US market fall. A couple of reasons for that, Sakshi, which I would like to bring out. One is that we've already seen Nifty correcting or underperforming the global market since past October. So since October 24, we have been seeing that Nifty has been falling, and it's been almost 5 months now, consecutive 5 months, where Nifty has fallen, and the global markets have outperformed the Indian markets. So that's one reason that now Indian markets having fallen so much is not reacting much to the US fall. That's one. Second, we have seen the dollar index had risen from 100 to 110, and that has now fallen to almost 104. So that is something positive again. Crude has fallen quite sharply, and you've seen Brent below 75 now. So that is also something which is positive for India, as it helps to bring down our inflation overall, because our dependency on crude is quite high. Okay, as far as imports is concerned, is quite high. So these are the couple of factors because of which now India as Indian markets are now outperforming. The only worry for me from here on, Sakshi, would be that if the CBOE VIX, surpasses the levels of say 30 or so, which has been the mean out there in the US. If that happens, then probably you might see an unusual event. And see, generally, whenever this kind of event, CBOE VIX has surpassed 30, 31 levels in the US, that has happened, if I recollect, since past 2 decades, and it could be around the global crisis in 2008, and that second would be around the COVID. So if it moves beyond 2021, then you can expect that kind of a thing happening. This seems to be a man-made thing, and this is something, obviously, I have not witnessed, thinking of something like a global crisis of 2008 as of now. Okay, I think situations can be controlled. So I think if those levels are coming in the US market, CBOE is coming around 30 or so levels, and thereafter cooling off, then the US market should also bottom out there, and there can be a stability in the equity markets. As of now, there is the risk of in the US markets, because of which globally we are seeing some pressure. However, Nifty is quite resilient. I mean, it's trying to hold out to its recent lows of 22,000. So till those levels are held, actually we believe that 22,800 to 23,000 can be witnessed going forward. So my stance would be buy on dips until 22,000 levels are held.
A fair point. Chandan, Jay, we also had a lot of questions that are coming in from our viewers. This is our first question from Chandan Jain, Hubli, Karnataka. He is from, and he wants to know on Bombay Stock Exchange as a stock. He is holding this stock at the rate of 2600, and he wants to know whether in the current volatility and downtrend, if it is there, can he continue to hold on? Should he invest more? What exactly should his strategy be? BSE currently is at 3838, so he bought it at an attractive level of 2600. So he's still sitting on a good amount of profit despite all the cool off from the highs. What should his strategy be here?
I think, see, Sakshi, we should be looking out this stock from a couple of things, aspects. One is that, BSE stock prices had gone up because, there was a lot of market share gain in the derivatives segment. Okay. Which, due to the, regulators' decisions or circular had actually favored BSE because of the NSE's highest market share index derivatives. Bank Nifty was weekly expiry was closed and shifted to only monthly, and likewise Swing Nifty and Mid Cap Nifty was also shifted only to monthly, and the weekly expiries were in fact stopped out there. So that market share had gone to some of market share had gone to BSE, and obviously the rebate to the discount brokers was also or to the brokers overall, not a discount, but to rebates was actually also stopped by the regulators, and that is also benefiting the exchanges. So that is another reason why it was favoring BSE and NSE both. So these were a couple of reasons why BSE stock was going up, and now the further actions which have been taken by the NSE to shift its expiry from Thursday to Monday, eventually BSE might again lose out some market share, and because of which you are seeing this drop. Second is the circular by the regulator again to curb the limit of the proprietary traders or the FPIs to have approximately, as far as I've read it correctly, to have not more than 2,500 crore OI, open interest in the market at a given point of time, which would significantly impact the derivative segment volume going forward. Hence, we are seeing this correction coming in BSE. So my stance would be right now in FNO, it's in ban period. So if at all you see whatever bounce, you should be eyeing to exit from this stock. I would see that until unless you don't see a move in the shift from derivative expiry on BSE from Tuesday to maybe some other day, that again getting back the market share which it had recently acquired or gained would be difficult. So I think once that happens and when prices bounce back, I think you should be eyeing to exit because overall, because of the derivatives segment market share gain, the stock was going up. But if that's getting limited from the regulators, then it would definitely impact their business.
Okay, fair point. Let's actually go ahead and see what else can we look at in terms of questions coming in. This question is from Satyan, one of our viewers. He says, I want to ask this question on behalf of myself and my friends also. I want to know, please assist in getting the right picks for the long term. I want also levels for accumulation. Some of the banking related stocks like Axis Bank and Federal Bank is what I have selected, and some auto stocks like M&M and Ashoka Leyland. I want to know whether it is a good selection of stocks. Can I invest in all of these, for the next 1 year perspective? What would your suggestion be?
Well, actually, I would say that the couple of stocks out of this, like Ashok Leyland is one of our quant pick as well at ICICI Direct. So as a disclaimer, I would like to say that we have already recommended this to our clients in last December for the calendar year 2025. So definitely, this is one stock which is looking positive. We already have buy recommendation on this. You also mentioned about a few of the banking names. Federal Bank fundamentally is good, definitely. From a derivatives point of view, also is looking good. So that is another stock you can surely have it in your portfolio. Third, I would like to say is that SBI from the public sector bank, SBI or Bank of Baroda, both of these are looking good to us. I think we've seen good amount of long unwinding in these stocks. Now, it's a good time to accumulate it again. From the private sector banks, we have seen a couple of stocks which are not doing good. The Axis Bank and IndusInd Bank, we have seen the reduction by the FII. So And we have also seen lately the kind of fall which is coming in the Bandhan Bank or maybe Axis Bank or maybe RBL Bank, all of these stocks or AIM Bank. So within the private sector banks, I think HDFC, Kotak, and of course I would not be able to recommend anything on ICICI. But apart from the other private sector banks, nothing looks good. So if you want to also focus on the PSU banks, then I think apart from Kotak Bank, HDFC Bank, you can also focus on SBI and Bank of Baroda. Also, I mean these are looking good. So a couple of banks like Federal Bank, SBI, BOB, you can definitely add in your portfolio along with Ashok Leyland. And you can be buying something, I would say, from the oil and gas sector as well, like Reliance, which has fallen quite a lot, and we have seen good amount of short, OI reducing. Currently trading around 1250 levels. I think oil and gas sector is one of the worst hit, right? So going forward, it might have seen the worst of it. So going forward, we can see some bounce back coming in Reliance as well for months to come. So this is one stock which definitely can add on in your portfolio. From the IT, I mean, the overall outlook is definitely negative. We have seen good amount of short getting built up, so I would not like to recommend anything from IT right now because there is no such evidence from the derivatives point of view for me to actually suggest something from there. But then, National Aluminium from Metals or maybe, Steel Authority, which we have recommended to our clients as well at ICICI Direct. So, Nalco, SAIL, and then something from power sector like, NTPC and Tata Power. I mean, as a disclaimer, we have recommended these to our clients as well. So power, metals, oil and gas, these commodities linked stocks can be added along with the banking and auto name Ashok Leyland only. I think the rest of the auto has seen a lot of correction. But then definitely from the point of view of consumption, the two-wheelers might see some rebound going forward once this correction in the auto sector takes a pause. Probably, Bajaj Auto might benefit out of it, Bajaj and TVS Motors. So this would be a good mix, Sakshi.
Okay, so that's quite a comprehensive discussion as far as where exactly should one strategy be. I hope this has really greatly helped you out. We'll take another question. This one is from one of our viewers, Nitin Raj Verma, और ये पूछना चाहते हैं Zomato और NBCC पर आपकी राय चाहिए। Zomato 214 पर खरीदा हुआ है और NBCC 85 रुपीस पर खरीदा हुआ है। यहाँ से अब किस तरीके की रणनीति अपनाएं? Zomato slowly and gradually has been inching up after testing those 203, 204 odd lows. It has been gradually recovering, whereas NBCC still is hovering around 78 odd levels. Any suggestion here, Jay?
See, Sakshi, I would say since Zomato has been included into derivatives in the after Nifty as well, the stock is not performing. In fact, it bounced back definitely from 205 and then it
Yeah.
bounced back in Nifty 30 to 40 levels. But then in this consolidation, it formed a symmetrical triangular pattern technically, which has been broken on the lower side yesterday. So I think this stock is heading towards the levels of 180, 175. From the derivative point of view, we have seen continuously short additions in this stock. So from both technicals and derivatives point of view, I think Zomato's short-term outlook is negative at least until 175, 180 levels. As far as NBCC is concerned, we have seen some recovery in this stock. And I think, technically too, it's been likely to form an inverse head and shoulders pattern. We are seeing some likely short covering in this stock as well. So this can rather outperform in the short term. It can inch towards 80 to 84 levels, trading at around 78. So NBCC is looking positive, whereas Zomato is looking negative.
Okay, got that. So Zomato currently is down by 4.6 odd percent at 201. In fact, it's been actually correcting for last 4-5 odd trading sessions as well, is what we have been saying. The stock is also corrected about 11% in the last 5 trading sessions as well. So we'll continue to keep an eye out on what Zomato is up to at this point in time. We have Ramakant's question next. He's from our YouTube viewers and he says, I have already invested about 4 lakhs of an amount on stocks like Tata Motors, Jio Finance, Bajaj Housing, and currently my portfolio is down by 25%. Now, looking at the current correction, he wants to invest more money. He says he has 3 lakh rupees to invest in. Could you please suggest where exactly should he be putting in his money for the next 5-year time frame?
Okay, so Sakshi, we just discussed few stocks, right?
Yeah.
Metals from the long-term point of view is looking good because, metals or maybe infra, you can include, ABB Siemens from the capital goods segment, ABB Siemens and L&T as well. So one sector which I missed out earlier, and the previous question was this sector wherein one can definitely invest because going forward, we'll definitely see capex coming in, and then along with that, power and infra both. So from infra and cap goods, these three stocks. From power, I already mentioned NTPC and Tata P. And then definitely metals along with that is also looking positive. So as I mentioned, Nalco and Steel Authority, these are looking good. And from the metals, from the steel, then probably one can eye on Jindal Steel or JSW Steel. Fundamentally, also these stocks are better. So metals, and then oil and gas, I mentioned Reliance, right? And then from telecom, if someone is looking out, then should be IndusInd. I think that's looking positive. And I would like to avoid pharma, IT as of now. There's not much of clarity out there for the consumption. I would say that, probably one can look at, Nestle or maybe HUL from the long-term point of view. Definitely in the consumption story, India is definitely looking positive from these two from the FMCG or maybe Marico. And finally, from the auto, as I mentioned, it could be Ashok Leyland, Bajaj, and TVS. This could be a good mix. We would be having a good diversified portfolio.
Hmm. Okay, got that. Let's look at some of the other questions that are also coming in from viewers. We have this question from Vinu P. He says, "Hi Sakshi, can I buy Dr. Reddy's at the current levels? And I want to also know about Nifty Pharma Index. What's the outlook?" So Dr. Reddy's as well as on the overall Pharma Index, Jay.
So, Dr. Reddy's, and as far as pharma is concerned, I would say Sakshi, see, pharma has been seeing some slowdown, and we know that, in 2014 also this happened when Trump was elected, and we saw that pharma did not perform until the next president was elected there, and then we saw COVID coming in, and then pharma rebounded, and then it corrected, but then, it again performed well. Historically, it has not performed in the Trump, tenure. So again, it has started correcting, and if at all there is some tariff imposed there, or maybe and making America great again. If the external companies who are exporting to US are hit by the tariffs or maybe some other duties, then there's no much of clarity. Hence, Nifty Farmers dependency on farmer stock dependency, majority of the stocks which are there in Nifty Farmer, the dependency on the US exports is quite there and heavy. So till we don't see a huge clarity from there, and because FDA and all of that, observations are also from there itself. So if they become quite strict there from both tariff point of view as well as observations point of view, then it could be negative for pharma. So we should be giving some time for those stocks which are actually dependent on the US as of now. And as far as Dr. Reddy is concerned, this definitely which was asked along with the index. See, Dr. Reddy's performance overall has been positive. Okay. But then what we have seen is that actually all coming in, overall, we had seen the stock correcting earlier on account of long mining, and then we saw good amount of stocks getting built up, which has covered as well. So, from a derivatives point of view, the stock is quite light. There's not much of derivative position right now. It's in fact, we're at its, 3 2 years low. But as far as prices are concerned, it can bounce back. It's quite oversold. So there's a good support of around 1100. So till 1100 levels are held in the short term, 1100 to be very precise. There can be some bounce back till 1200, 1250. But we should be looking at exiting this stock rather than holding it until there is a clarity in the Nifty Pharma overall.
Okay, fair point. Some other question are also coming in. Okay, Satya CK wants to know on the defense related stocks, HAL versus BDL, is it advisable to average at the current levels? That's, I think, one of the most important questions from all those viewers who are big on defense and railways and have actually seen a painful period of last 4-5 odd months, but are now actually again thinking that maybe things may be returning back to some glory, if not all. What's your own suggestion?
I would say, one should be looking this from the index point of view, Sakshi, because you are absolutely correct, as you said, that defense and railway were the first to top out. They topped out somewhere around May, June last year, and index topped out in October last year. So they were the first to correct and start the correction. And, we have seen good amount of shorts getting built up there. And if index has to bounce back from the current levels, then if 21,800 to 22,000 levels are to be held in the near term, at least, and if at all there is a bounce until 22,800, 23,000, then this is one sector which as of now is showing good amount of probability of bouncing back on account of short covering. So from short covering point of view, definitely these are the two sectors within which most of these stocks wherein we have seen good shorts will bounce back. But if you ask me that
Okay.
whether in the medium to long term one should be investing, I think one should still wait and watch. I mean, I might call on defense and railway would not be from the long term point of view, to just be from
Yeah.
the short point of view, from the bounce point of view. That's it.
ओके गॉट दैट। हमारे साथ अब एक दर्शक हैं कोलकाता से, सोमालिया बिस्वास हमारे साथ फोन लाइन पर है। सोमालिया जी नमस्कार, कैसे हैं?
नमस्कार, मैं अच्छा हूँ। आप कैसे हैं?
मैं ठीक हूँ, बताइए कैसे सेवा करें आपकी, आज क्या सवाल है आपका?
अच्छा, मेरा जो क्वेश्चन है कि मैं जानना चाहता हूँ निफ्टी का 23,000 का कॉल ऑप्शन मेरे पास है 20 मार्च के का, ठीक है। तो मैं जानना चाहता हूँ कि राइट, तो मेरे 6 लॉट्स है मेरे पास 23,000 कॉल ऑप्शन और 25 रुपये पे मेरा एवरेज बाइंग प्राइस है। तो
ठीक है,
मैं जानना चाहता हूँ कि स्टॉक लॉस टारगेट क्या करें इस ऑप्शन
ठीक है। 23,000 का कॉल ऑप्शन है निफ्टी का, 20 मार्च से लिया हुआ है 25.4 के प्राइस पर। 6 लॉट हैं इनके पास और अब जानना चाहते हैं इस पर टारगेट क्या रखें और स्टॉप लॉस क्या रखें। 20 मार्च के एक्सपायरी के लिए इन्होंने खरीदा हुआ है 25.44 के लेवल्स पर निफ्टी का 23,000 का कॉल ऑप्शन। क्या सजेस्ट करेंगे इनको?
मेरे हिसाब से तो साक्षी इनको प्रॉफिट बुक करना चाहिए 20 मार्च यानी कि नेक्स्ट हफ्ते गुरुवार, ठीक है ना। 23,000 तब तक आया, एज ऑफ नाउ कोई क्लैरिटी नहीं है। 22,800 आ सकता है, तो अगर 23 नहीं आया 22,800 आया भाई साहब, तो ये कॉल ऑप्शन बाजार ऊपर आने के बावजूद 400 पॉइंट, अभी अगर आप देखें तो 22,440 के आसपास है। मतलब करीब आप पकड़िए कि 350 पॉइंट ऊपर आने के बावजूद आपको पैसा नहीं बनेगा, तो क्या मतलब, राइट। 23,000 का आपका आउट ऑफ द मनी हो जाएगा स्टिल, तो बाजार ऊपर आने के बावजूद आपका पैसा नहीं बनेगा। हाँ,
बिल्कुल
ये है कि अगर जल्दी ऊपर आ गया, समझो कल परसों तक, गुरुवार तक या तो सोमवार तक, बिकॉज एक संकेत वीक है तो 3 दिन तो ऐसी छुट्टी
बिल्कुल।
में जाएंगे जिसके टीका लगेगा। तो सोमवार तक आया भी अगर 22,800, तो आपके चांसेस है बनने के। तो मेरे हिसाब से इसमें प्रॉफिट बुक करके आप क्या कीजिए, आप 22,800 का खरीद लीजिए 65 रुपये अगले एक्सपायरी का, ठीक है। 65 पर खरीदिए और आप ये कीजिए कि आप नेक्स्ट वीकली एक्सपायरी का, आप सॉरी, आप ऊपर का 23,000 का कॉल बेच दीजिए। तो इसमें क्या होगा, आपने 65 पे खरीदा और 28 पे बेचा, तो आपकी लागत जो है ना केवल 37 रुपये की हो जाएगी, ठीक है। दैट इज द मैक्सिमम लॉस। बट आपका जो गेन होगा, अगर 23,000 आ गया समझो, फॉर दैट मैटर, तो आपका रिस्क कम हो जाएगा। आप ये भी कर सकते हैं, 22,800 का खरीद के 23 का बेचिए, या तो 22,600 का खरीद के 23 का बेच लीजिए। आप अभी भी तो भी मुनाफे में रहेंगे, आपका रिस्क जो बेटर रहेगा। आप एक लेकर एक बेचिए, 23,000 का इतनी दूर का आप वो भी होल्ड करिए।
चलिए, उम्मीद करते हैं सोमालिया जी आपको जो रणनीति बताई गई है उस हिसाब से आप चलेंगे तो आप प्रॉफिट भी ज़्यादा कमा सकते हैं, हेज करके भी चल सकते हैं। तो डेफिनेटली आपको ये राय जो दी गई है इसे डेफिनेटली आप फॉलो करें। नेक्स्ट हमारे पास एक सवाल आया है और ये है मिस्टर ललित का। ये पूछ रहे हैं बैंक ऑफ महाराष्ट्र और कर्नाटका बैंक क्या लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट्स के लिए सही रहेंगे? बैंक ऑफ महाराष्ट्र या फिर कर्नाटका बैंक, इन दोनों में से आपको कोई पसंद है स्टॉक?
वेल, महाराष्ट्र बैंक फंडामेंटली, जहाँ तक मुझे पता है, मैंने बात भी करी, तो फंडामेंटली इसके नंबर्स तो अच्छे आ रहे हैं। सो दिस इज नॉट अ बैड स्टॉक, आई वुड से समवन इज हैविंग कैन होल्ड आउट। एंड जहाँ तक बैंक ऑफ महाराष्ट्र और साक्षी आपने कौन सा पूछा मुझे, बैंक ऑफ इंडिया,
ठीक है, बैंक ऑफ महाराष्ट्र इन्होंने पूछा और कर्नाटका बैंक।
कर्नाटका बैंक, ओके। कर्नाटका बैंक का ज्यादा सवाल है, देखिए ये भी स्टॉक अच्छा ही है। इनफैक्ट इसमें मैं फ्यूचर्स है नहीं, डेरिवेटिव्स में टेक्निकल राइज हुआ है, ऐसे तो मैं डेरिवेटिव ज्यादा देखता हूँ। बट टेक्निकली अगर मैं इसको देखूँ साक्षी, तो इसने अगस्त 2008 से लेकर अप्रैल 2023 की जो रेंज थी 15 साल की, उसको ब्रेकआउट दिया, ऊपर गया, फिर से उसको रीटेस्ट कर रहा है। तो मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है जब तक 125 के लेवल होल्ड आउट कर रहे हैं, लॉन्ग टर्म की बात कर रहा हूँ, तब तक आने वाले और 3-4 साल के लिए कर्नाटका बैंक को मुझे नहीं लगता कुछ नेगेटिव है, पॉजिटिव है। तो दोनों ही स्टॉक अच्छे हैं, कर्नाटका एंड बैंक ऑफ महाराष्ट्र, स्मॉल साइज बैंक में है।
ओके, गॉट दैट। अगला सवाल ले लेते हैं और ये सवाल आया है विक्रम की तरफ से। पूछते हैं, हाय साक्षी, आई वांट टू एंटर CDSL and I want to know whether it will reach 1000 levels and can I buy right now. CDSL पर इनका सवाल है, कैपिटल मार्केट्स की ऐसी स्टोरी जहां पर हमने एक मूव देखा है और ये पूछना चाह रहे हैं कि 1000 तक के लेवल्स का वेट करें क्या एंट्री का, 1000 तक के लेवल्स आ सकते हैं या फिर अभी कर ले निवेश.
I think, see, now, I mean, if you want to time it so exactly, तो थोड़ा difficulty होगा कहने के लिए. I would
जी.
say, see, or it's already corrected quite a lot. I mean, 2000 से almost 1100 हजार तो हो ही गया, तो आधा तो हो ही गया. And if you ask me, story that is positive only because this actually एक बहुत ही अच्छी चीज मैं आपको बताने जाऊंगा. I mean, ये हमारा observation रहा है. हमने जो हमारे quant report में भी डाला था कि
Okay.
1980 से लेकर मतलब जब आप US का ये tenure देखे ना, 2 दशक 1980 से 2000 वहाँ पे रिटेल का इन ओवरऑल इक्विटीज में जो होल्डिंग वैल्यू थी वो 10% से बढ़कर हो गई 40% की. ठीक है ना. एंड उसमें यूएस मार्केट ने रिटर्न दिया था 13x 13
वाओ
टाइम.
वाओ.
अब तो इंडिया में अगर मैं 2012 से लेकर अभी तक देखूं तो वी हैव रीच्ड अंटिल 27-28%. ठीक है ना. तो यूएस में 30-40% तक गया था. अभी भी हम कह सकते हैं कि हमारे यहाँ पे अभी भी जगह है. हमने देखे कि डीमैट 17.5-18 करोड़ तक हो गए. इतना वीक मार्केट होने के बावजूद अगर लास्ट आप रिसेंट आंकड़े देखे तो फिर भी 22 लाख अकाउंट फुल है. राइट. सो अभी रिसेंट डेटा अगर आप देखें तो अगर ऐसे खराब मार्केट में 22 लाख अकाउंट खुल रहे हैं और जिसमें सीडीएसएल का अच्छा खासा मैं कहूंगा कि मार्केट शेयर है, सो डेफिनेटली टर्म आउटलुक तो पॉजिटिव ही है. आधा हो चुका है. 45 के पी के आसपास ट्रेड कर रहा है तो रिलेटिवली आपको थोड़ा महंगा लग रहा हो तो थोड़ा करेक्ट हो. समझो 10% और भी करेक्ट हो जाए तो आप ठीक है 10-15% करेक्ट हो उतनी भी रूम रखना कि नीचे आप और ले पाओ. और जो मैंने यूएस का आपको बताने की कोशिश इसलिए की कि आप देख सकते हैं कि अगर वो हो सकता है यहाँ पे तो यहाँ पे तो पॉपुलेशन एडवांटेज भी तो नंबर कितना और बड़ा हो सकता है. 9% यानी कि जितना भी है ना काफी उतना ही और हो जाएगा. So the probability of having more demat account going forward in the next this decade is also quite high. Business operating profit भी इसका अच्छा है, margins भी अच्छे हैं. और अभी NSDL ने IPO के लिए भी आपको ध्यान में है कि उसने they have applied for तो कभी भी आ जाएगा तो relatively वो वैल्यू भी कैचअप करने की कोशिश भी करेगा. तो अच्छा ही आप ले सकते हैं. अभी भी 1000 पे थोड़ा ले लिए अगर आए तो और क्या.
चलिए ठीक है, उम्मीद करते हैं आपको ये कॉन्टेक्स्ट भी अच्छा लगा होगा. एक जो पूरी तरीके से आपको एग्जाम्पल्स के साथ समझाया है वो भी आपको एक समझ में आया होगा कि कैसे आप अप्रोच करें बाजार में. ऑलवेज अ प्लेजर टू स्पीक टू यू जय एंड थैंक यू सो मच फॉर स्पेयरिंग योर टाइम फॉर अस एंड फॉर पेशेंटली एड्रेसिंग ऑल द क्वेरीज फ्रॉम आवर गेस्ट. थैंक यू सो मच, अप्रिशिएट योर टाइम.
Likewise, Sakshi, it's always a pleasure and looking forward for more such interactions as well.
Absolutely, same here. Let's actually look forward to addressing all the queries of our guests on daily calls, and that's what our aim is, to help all of you get the right direction with the help of top market experts. Let's take some questions that are coming in with our another guest who is joining in now. Let's welcome him. Mr. Raj Vyas is with us, Vice President of Research at Tezi Mandi. Mr. Vyas, thank you for joining in. We have a lot of questions for you, so we'll start off by taking those only. Mr. Dasradhi has written in his question. He has 300 shares of Hindustan Copper at the rate of 315. The second one is 11 shares of Tata Elxsi at 8,000. And he wants to know, he's feeling stuck at both these stocks. When will his price return on both these stocks? Hindustan Copper bought at 315 and Tata Elxsi bought a little at higher levels, 8,000 odd levels, and he's been patiently waiting, but he wants to know, is there any chance of his prices returning? Are you on mute by any chance, Mr. Vyas?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. So for Hindustan Copper, if you see, the stock was into the sliding zone only from where he has entered, like around 350 odd levels. And currently it is into the 6 months lowest levels if we see on a monthly basis. And from here lately, the stock has continuously been making higher highs and higher lows, which we believe is positive on our technical parameters. Hence, and this is also supported by increasing volumes and also the RSI, which we see is has given a lately positive divergence, and also it is around 40 odd levels, which typically suggests that it is into the oversold territory. and the overall sector we believe is on a positive zone only. So I guess the risk reward from here on is quite favorable. So rather to book loss at this level, it's better to accumulate and do some. He can do some sort of averaging till the stock price holds on to the 195, 196 levels, because 195 is something the last time we saw the rally from the December 23 levels. So this is something he can put the stop loss in terms of the downside and continue to accumulate if the stock goes on the positive side. Uh,
Okay.
other uh, other stock was which stock? I forgot the name.
So the second stock that he's asked is Tata Elxsi at the rate of 8,000.
So Tata Elxsi, on the overall IT, if you see, we remain positive because like 7 out of the 8 times post the US elections, the IT sector has actually outperformed. So the recent corrections that we have seen, typically because IT is tend to be a safe haven, but because of the US recession kind of thing fluctuating in the markets,
Yeah.
we have also seen the IT sector like feeling the pain as well, and this is reflected across the across the stocks that we have, be it large cap that because typically majority of the revenue comes from the US or America's geographies. So because of this, we have seen a bit of a drawdown in the stocks, but my suggestion would be to continue remain invested because as mentioned, 7 out of the 8 times this sector has actually outperformed. And once the macro numbers are out and the economy stabilizes, we believe that the stock will turn around, and hence to remain invested and book and should not book losses at the current levels.
Okay, fair point. We'll take some other questions. This is Avnish Chaudhary asking, could you please help me on a few stocks? First one is Inox Wind and the second one is Kalyan Jewelers. How are you looking at these two stocks for a fresh entry? क्या यहाँ पर कोई टारगेट या स्टॉप लॉस आप सजेस्ट कर सकते हैं आइनॉक्स विंड या कल्याण ज्वेलर्स में दोनों में निवेश की अपॉर्चुनिटी ढूंढ रहे हैं
तो अगर मैं पहले कल्याण ज्वेलर्स की बात करूं, तो कल्याण ज्वेलर्स इज डाउन लाइक क्लोज टू 40-50% फ्रॉम इट्स 52-week हाई लेवल्स. एंड अगर हम फ्रेश निवेश की बात करें तो द रिस्क रिवॉर्ड पैरामीटर लुक्स क्वाइट फेवरेबल एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. The growth projections, if you look, so the company is looking to expand its portfolio and expand its showrooms as well, from where it will get majority of the revenue. So that is pretty much in line with the growth trajectory that the management had mentioned in the earnings call as well. If you look at some of the rumors that the Kalyan Jewelers were facing because of management purchasing airlines and aircraft, so these all rumors they have they said that it's all rumors and it's all baseless. Secondly, if we see the performance or the expansion shown as mentioned, it's quite favorable. And with the risk reward quite favorable right now, so the it should bode well, and one can take actually a fresh bet on Kalyan Jewelers because the stock is drastically down from its high levels. And if you see, the stock also faced some sort of pressure because of 2-3 closure in its showrooms, and then the management highlighted that it is typically they face some sort of closure because the showrooms are not operating as per the requirements of the management, and it should not be a negative side. Because of all these 2-3 rumors, the stock got drastically impacted. But because looking at the current scenario and the stock prices, one can take a fresh bet on the stock. But
okay
it should be on a not on a short term basis, but it should be on a longer term horizon.
Okay, got that. Let's take some other questions then. We have Vinay S writing in and saying, is it the right time to invest in IndusInd Bank? It's an important question to address. A lot of viewers who may be looking at the sharp fall in IndusInd Bank may be actually looking at this as an opportunity. For the benefit of all our viewers, let me just suggest to them, remember IndusInd Bank has seen 3 to 4 consecutive circuits on the trade today. It's a 25% drop for the Nifty for the IndusInd Bank just today. 674 is the current level. So first we saw a 10% circuit, 15, then 20, and now you're seeing a 25% downward momentum. Why this is happening is because the bank has reported in their internal review there have been some discrepancies in their derivatives trading, and they are actually expecting a hit on their net worth of about 2.3 odd percent, which actually could translate to somewhere over 1600 crores that could be absorbed by the bank either in the current quarter Q4 of FY25 or in the next quarter Q1 of FY26. So the earnings already are looking bleak with that indication from the bank already. The stock has already slipped by over 55% from its all-time highs that we had seen, and the stock continues to reel under multiple headwinds. How have you assessed the situation right now on IndusInd Bank, Mr. Vyas, and what would you advise all those watching the show?
So as we mentioned rightly, because of all these scenarios, IndusInd Bank is into pressure currently. But my advice would be not to catch the falling knife because the restrictions are extreme. And as you mentioned, it's 2.3% of its total net worth, close to 1600 crore. Though the bank has mentioned that it will be a one-time hit, and the financials are so strong that the bank will be able to cope up with such scenarios. But my scenario or my opinion will be that there are other banks as well which have a renowned name and they are already into the business since many long times. So it's better to stick to the leaders of the banking sectors, which I can suggest is the HDFC Bank or the State Bank of India. All these the two banks are the leaders in their respective zones, and given the fact that the credibility of all these two banks, it's very much higher than the IndusInd Bank currently. There will be no advice on a fresh bet on IndusInd Bank, but to look at some of the other large players such as HDFC Bank or SBI at current levels, where the returns or the valuations looks quite reasonable at current junction and can have a reasonable run on a longer term horizon.
Let's take some other questions then. We have Aman S. Aneja writing in on our YouTube saying, Hi Sakshi, how are you? I'm very well, Mr. Aneja, and hope the same for you. He needs a view on Manappuram Finance. He has 25 shares at the rate of 153. Looking at how everybody is looking at gold as a safe haven in the current market scenario, do you think gold financiers like Manappuram will be something to look at?
Yeah, absolutely. Manappuram Finances looks quite good on the charts as well, and as mentioned, the fundamental wise, the gold safe haven, the stock looks quite well as well. Lately, the stock was in news because of some sort of in terms of positioning, in terms of stake by Bain Capital. That is not confirmed by the company as well. But if we see the technical parameters, the stock it is around 190 to 195 odd level zone. It has not broken that levels and has comfortably remained above those zone as well. So if one has to have a fresh bet on Manappuram Finance at the current levels, they can absolutely have a fresh bet for a target of 213 to 215. And on the downside, they can keep a strict stop loss of around 195 odd levels, because this is the zone where the stock has lately bounced and has taken multiple supports as well. So this is something can have one can have a fresh bet on Manappuram Finance. Stop loss of 190, 194 levels and for a target price of 213 to 215 odd levels.
Fair point. We'll look at some other questions. We have one question coming in from Gul from Kerala, and Gul says, I want to know on pharma and healthcare stocks. Apollo Hospitals, I purchased at 6200 and Sun Pharma at 1723. Please suggest when should I add more quantities here? Apollo Hospitals, Sun Pharma.
So if you see the hospital segment as a sector, so it gained traction post-COVID when the people started to get aware of the medical emergencies and how it is quite impactful on the health. And we believe that the run-up is will continue, because as and when if you see the disposable income gets, and as and when the people gets aware of more and more in terms of diseases or in terms of protecting their health, the hospitality sector is something that should reasonably do well, and it should gain traction. And we have also lately seen the companies making a fair bit of expansions in the sector. They're coming up with new hospitals, which will be operational in the coming months and quarters, and that should pretty much improve the fundamentals as well. Looking at hospitals, the last time when we see the rally, it was around 6,000 odd levels from where the rally was witnessed. And currently as well, the stock is like trading at the similar levels with a positive RSI and positive divergence visible on the cards as well. So, one can on the technical parameters and the fundamental parameters both moving parallelly, we remain positive on Apollo Hospitals currently, and one can have a fresh bet on the stock. Like on the downside, one can place a stop loss of 5,700 odd levels, because and that is something the stock witnessed 2 or 3 times as well, and from there again we see bounce back happening in the stock. So 5,700 is a strict stop loss that we look, and one can have a fresh bet on the stock because it looks reasonably quite well.
Okay, we'll take another question, and this one is from Kalpesh Patel. He's on the phone line with us. Kalpesh जी, नमस्कार, कैसे हैं आप?
नमस्कार मैम, एकदम बढ़िया। आप कैसे हो मैम?
मैं ठीक हूँ कल्पेश, क्या सवाल है आपका?
मैम मेरा एक्चुअली दो सवाल है। एक तो जिस हिसाब से सोने का प्राइस बढ़ रहा है, ठीक है, तो उसकी वजह से ये जो ज्वेलरी कंपनी है जैसे टाइटन है या और ये ज्वेलर्स है, कल्याण ज्वेलर्स, तो उसके डिमांड काफ़ी कम हो गई। क्या उसमें आगे जाके और वीकनेस बढ़ सकती है? नंबर एक। और नंबर दो कि आज इंडसइंड बैंक की काफ़ी खराब न्यूज़ थी, वर्ल्ड मार्केट काफ़ी क्रैश हो गया था, सब कुछ काफ़ी खराब था। उसके बावजूद अगर आज ये अपनी निफ्टी ग्रीन में हुई है, तो ये तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि और निफ्टी में क्या यहाँ से थोड़ी और बड़ी तेजी हो सकती है?
ठीक है, तो बाजार के ऊपर इनका व्यू है कि क्या यहाँ से चीज़ें बदल सकती हैं बाजार के लिए, कि बावजूद इतने वीक हैंडओवर के और खबरें काफ़ी नेगेटिव आई डोमेस्टिक स्टॉक्स को लेते हुए भी, फिर भी निफ्टी अटेम्प्ट कर रहा है हरे निशान में आने के लिए। 22,460 का इनका अभी लेवल देखने को मिल रहा है निफ्टी का। दिन के उच्चतम स्तरों पर हम पहुँचने की एक बार फिर से कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
तो अगर हम मार्केट के व्यू की अगर बारे में बात करें पहले, तो लास्ट वीक अगर हम देखें तो वो 2025 का सबसे बेस्ट वीक था, जहाँ पे निफ्टी और सेंसेक्स ने अपने प्रीवियस 3 वीक के लॉसेस को रिकवर करके जो डाउन ट्रेंड की जो जर्नी थी उन पे ब्रेक लगाया, और उन्होंने पॉजिटिवली रिटर्न दिया। सो बेंचमार्क इंडेक्सेस आपके 2-2.5% ऊपर थे, और स्टोरी इनफैक्ट थी स्मॉल और मिड कैप पे, जहाँ पे रैली हमें देखने को मिली 3 से 5-6% और। ये रैली हमें देखने को मिली थी क्योंकि हमारे पास इंडिया का जीडीपी डेटा भी आया था जो काफी स्ट्रॉन्ग था, 6.2%, और वो इनलाइन था ब्लूमबर्ग एक्सपेक्टेशंस के साथ ही हमें देखने को मिला कि जीएसटी जो नंबर्स थे वो भी काफी अच्छे आए थे। ऑटो सेल्स नंबर्स भी काफी पॉजिटिव थे। तो ये सब पॉजिटिव सेंटीमेंट जो हमें डोमेस्टिकली देखने को मिला है और हमें बहुत महीनों से भी देखने को मिल रहा है, वो काफी अच्छे हैं। तो ये आगे चलकर मार्केट को एक पॉजिटिव दिशा में लेके जाएंगे। और पहले ये हो रहा था कि यूएस इकोनॉमी काफी स्ट्रांग थी, तो हमें ये भी अक्सर सुनने को मिल रहा था कि सेल इंडिया बाय यूएस। बट अभी कंसर्न्स हमें दिख रही है बिकॉज ऑफ रिसेशंस, जो इकोनॉमिक डेटा भी इतने अच्छे नहीं आ रहे हैं। तो मार्केट फ्लक्चुएट कर रहा है डोमेस्टिक और इंटरनेशनल मार्केट्स के बीच में, और इस सब में इंडिया एक काफी अच्छा पोटेंशियल बेट बना है, बिकॉज जो एफआईआईज है वो जो लेटली सेल कर रहे हैं, अगर आप कल की सेलिंग देखोगे तो वो तकरीबन 3 डिजिट्स में थी, और इतनी टाइम्स हम 4 डिजिट्स में सेलिंग देख रहे हैं, तो वो एक पॉजिटिव पिक्चर हो सकता है। और एमर्जिंग मार्केट्स में भी इंडिया काफी अच्छा प्लेस्ड है,
जी,
और जो मॉनेटरी और फिस्कल पॉलिसी हमें देखने को मिल रही थी, वो आगे चलकर मार्केट को सपोर्ट करेंगे। तो हमें लग रहा है कि इंडिया एक काफी अच्छा जोन है। हमने लास्ट टाइम भी कॉल में बताया था कि हम नियर टू द बॉटम है।
ठीक है।
हालांकि स्टॉक स्पेसिफिक वाइज बॉटम ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है, और
जी,
यही हमें आज के मार्केट में भी दिख रहा है कि जब स्टार्टिंग में 100 पॉइंट्स निफ्टी ने नीचे के स्टेप पे स्टार्ट किया था, बट
जी।
अभी वो वापस ग्रीन में हो गया है। सो दैट इज अ पॉजिटिव साइन, एंड आई गेस वी रिमेन कंस्ट्रक्टिव एंड पॉजिटिव ऑन द इंडियन मार्केट्स। स्टॉक स्पेसिफिक अगर हम बात करें, आपने कल्याण ज्वेलर्स के बारे में बताया, हमने आज ही कॉल में डिस्कस किया कि कल्याण ज्वेलर्स अपने हाई लेवल से तकरीबन 40-50% लो लेवल पे है।
जी।
और इसका रीजन था जो मैनेजमेंट के कंसर्न्स थे, रूमर्स थे कि भाई वो अपना पैसा कुछ अलग एक्टिविटीज में लगा रहा है। 2-3 शोरूम्स बंद हो गए थे, तो इस पे भी एक नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट आ गया था। बट उनकी जो एक्सपांशन या ग्रोथ ट्रेजेक्ट्री है वो काफी इंटैक्ट है। उन्होंने जो अपने आउटकम्स बताए थे कि हम इतने शोरूम्स ओपन करने वाले हैं, वो उन्होंने किए हैं, और ये क्वार्टर्स में भी वो शोरूम्स ओपन करेंगे। सो ये सब उनकी एक्सपेंशन ट्रेजेक्टरी को सपोर्ट करेगा आगे के क्वार्टर्स में। और जैसे कि हमें ये आने वाले क्वार्टर्स में नंबर हमें मिलेंगे, वो हिसाब से जो अगर अर्निंग्स इंप्रूव होगी तो कल्याण ज्वेलर्स डेफिनेटली आपको स्टॉक अच्छे रिटर्न्स दे सकता है, क्योंकि वो काफी जो रिस्क रिवॉर्ड जो है वो काफी फेवरेबल है ये टाइम पे।
ओके, बहुत सारे और भी सवाल हमारे पास आ रहे हैं। ट्राई करते हैं हम जितने भी ज़्यादा सवाल ले पाएंगे आज के इस शो पर। पहले हम लेते हैं सवाल चंद्र सिंह दोदिया का। ये नई दिल्ली से हैं, व्हाट्सएप पर लिख रहे हैं, हाय साक्षी, हाउ आर यू? आई एम वेल चंद्र सिंह जी, होप द सेम फॉर यू। ही हैज़ बॉट टेक्समैको रेल एट 123 एंड ही वॉन्ट्स टू नो शुड आई बाय मोर। इन्हीं के साथ मैं एक और सवाल लगा देती हूँ। हमारे पास ये सवाल एक और दर्शक का आ रहा है जो कि पूछ रहे हैं कि रेलवे स्टॉक्स के ऊपर आपका क्या व्यू है। तो ये पूरे ही क्षेत्र के ऊपर और टेक्समैको के ऊपर अगर आप बता पाएँ।
अगर हम टैक्स में को रेल अगर पहले हम सेक्टर की ओवरऑल बात करें तो रेलवे सेक्टर काफी फोकस में था पिछले 1-2 साल में। हम बात करें कि जो भी स्टॉक्स थे ये दौरान उन्होंने काफी अच्छी रैली की थी। थोड़े बहुत जो करेक्शन है वो काफी रीजनेबल है, बिकॉज उनके प्राइसेस काफी बढ़ गए थे। तो अभी ये जो लेवल है वो लेवल ये है कि हम एक्यूमुलेट या न्यू फ्रेश एंट्री ले सकते हैं, बिकॉज
बिल्कुल।
52 वीक हाई लेवल से भी काफी हमें वो निचले स्तर पर भी ट्रेड कर रहे हैं। तो अगर हम बात करें टैक्स में को रेल की, तो वो अभी करेंटली ट्रेड कर रहा है 125-130 ऑड लेवल्स पे। तो चार्ट पे अगर टेक्निकल पैरामीटर्स देखें तो वो काफी रीजनेबली है, उनका आरएसआई भी पॉजिटिव डाइवर्जेंस पर अभी है। और वो 30-35 की आरएसआई पे अभी काफी वो ओवरसोल्ड पोजीशंस पर है अपने। तो फ्रेश एंट्री लेना तो बनता ही है इस पे, क्योंकि वो काफी पॉजिटिव जोन पे ही है। और हम अगर प्रीवियस कुछ फ्यू सेशंस पे बात करें तो कंपनी ने हायर हाई हायर लो बनाया है। सो ये इंडिकेट करता है कि बुलिश इम्प्लीकेशंस स्टॉक्स में अभी भी बने हुए हैं। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस, अगर हम रेलवे स्टॉक्स और दूसरे अगर बात करें, अगर फ्रेश एंट्री लेनी चाहे तो वो एक है एचबीएल इंजीनियरिंग, जिसका पहले का नाम था एचबीएल पावर। सो ये एक कंपनी है जो जिन्होंने काफी अच्छा रनअप किया था। अगर हम देखिए 85-88 लेवल से उन्होंने काफी 700 लेवल्स तक आ गए एचपी इंजीनियरिंंग अगर हम करें तो। और अभी भी वो अपने जो है उनके जो ऑर्डर बुक्स वगैरह है वो काफी अच्छा स्ट्रॉन्ग है। H2 में भी मैनेजमेंट ने इंडिकेट किया है कि उनको अच्छे कवच के ऑर्डर्स मिलेंगे। तो एचपी इंजीनियरिंग भी एक अच्छा बेट हो सकता है करंट लेवल्स पे, बेस्ड ऑन बोथ फंडामेंटल्स एंड टेक्निकल लेवल्स।
ठीक है। नेक्स्ट हमारे पास सवाल आया है अंकुर मोदी का और ये लिखते हैं, आई एम फ्रॉम जयपुर, वेयर कैन आई सी द निफ्टी बॉटम फॉर्मेशन एंड इज देयर एनी मोर पेन लेफ्ट इन द मार्केट? दैट्स व्हाट हिज क्वेश्चन इज।
Right. So see, one cannot predict the actual levels of the bottom, but we can say that we are near to the bottom, because we have seen some bit of bounce happening at the current levels. And if we see technically, Nifty has only broken below its 555 EMA only 5 or 6 times in the past,
Yeah.
and the 555 EMA comes around 21,600 levels. If any major like drawdown has to happen, then we can take 21,600 levels as a strict stop loss on a
Okay.
downside. So this is something I'm looking at the current section, and on the upside,
Sure.
it's high.
Okay, and on the upside, for sure, we can actually look at
Yeah.
hoping to retest the all-time highs sooner rather than later. Namita says that, hi, I was wondering if there is any bad news on Pidilite, because I have a few shares of Pidilite and I want to know if this is an opportunity to add some more. No big news as such that you believe that, you know, could be impacting the sentiments. The stock has been pretty choppy at 2716 odd levels. Today about 0.6% of a fall. How are you assessing Pidilite right now, Mr. Vyas?
Yeah. So Pidilite, as you mentioned, I have also not assessed any negative news from the Pidilite, but I guess as the paint sector were in pressure, it also impacted the Pidilite stock as well. But on the charts, the things are looking pretty much positive. I don't see any negative thing that should impact Pidilite. In fact, I guess
Okay.
it is up in today's it is flat and it has recovered quite a bit from the lower levels as well. So I don't see any issue on Pidilite as a
Okay.
stock. Like one can
Okay.
continue holding the stock.
We'll take one last question on the show, and this is from Milan Avasthi. लिखते हैं, I bought NBCC at 105 and the stock has slipped to 78 now. So should I continue to wait? What is the strategy that you would advise on NBCC?
Yeah, NBCC, fundamentally the stock is pretty much good. If you see the latest Q3 numbers as well, the stock has reported fairly good set of numbers. In fact, the guidance of 1 lakh crore was also achieved, and they will be achieving good numbers or good order books ahead as well. So we believe the stock like NBCC, they will be getting good amount of PMC businesses as well from the government as well as private players as well. So there is no doubt on the fundamental texture on NBCC. Technical parameters as well. The stock has continued to make higher highs and higher lows in the previous few sessions, and the RSI is also showing a positive divergence. So we believe the fundamental and both the technical parameters supports NBCC at the current junction, and one can his buying is around 105 levels or but I guess in the near to medium term the stock may cross its the buying levels as well. So continue holding NBCC because things looks great, and ahead as well the numbers are looking pretty much healthy.
Okay, got that. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Vyas, for patiently answering all the questions from our viewers today. I hope all the viewers have got the answers and the strategies which you will follow now to be on the right side of the market. In case there were some questions we could not take up today, we will be back with another edition of Daily Calls tomorrow at 12 noon. So you can again log in. Meanwhile, you can use the WhatsApp number that's flashing on your screens to continue to send in all your questions. But don't forget to mention your name, location and your contact details so that we can also give you an opportunity to speak to our top guests to also take a custom-made advice there. Thank you so much for watching in, but do stay tuned. Market coverage continues on the other side.
On Monday, European shares dropped after a mixed trading session in Asia over US President Donald Trump's tariff uncertainties.